Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for joining me once again for Hudson County View Live in the studio. Today we have another fantastic show, but first, you know me as your favorite cult of personality, the guy that'll tell you 2 and 2 makes 3, John Arhitis. And today, again, we have a lot of fantastic topics in my opinion. So first off, just a few hours ago over in North Bergen, the officials with the 32nd Legislative District, State Senator Nick Sacco, Assemblywoman Angelica Jimenez, and Assemblyman Pedro Mejia talked about immigrant IDs, specifically driver's licenses for undocumented immigrants. We also have State Senator Sacco in the studio. He'll be on in about 10 minutes or so. And then just down the road in Union City, a private investigator was looking into a government employee that had 2 jobs, one with the Union City Board of Education and the Superintendent of Elections, and he has put some compelling evidence forward that she was paid twice on a number of occasions. In other news, the Mile Square City Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bala signed a climate change executive order explaining where he's hoping to keep the city carbon-free by 2050, and my colleague Mark Bucinich will be speaking with you on that one. And also in Hoboken, we had an exclusive on Union Dry Dock obtaining renderings from New York Waterway, which shows what that facility would look like if they were to take over at that address for a ferry maintenance and refueling station. That's 901 Sinatra Drive. So obviously, we have a lot going on at Hudson, like any other day, any other week, any other month. But those are the specific topics we want to hone in today. Just briefly, just want to touch on a couple bullet points before we go to our first break. Last night, the West New York Board of Education had an unexpectedly tepid meeting, very uncharacteristic of what's been happening in West New York the past few weeks. But they introduced a $152 million budget, and they initially were going to come, that was initially going to come with a 6.7% tax increase, but after a motion by Trustee Jonathan Castaneda, that ended up being just a 2% tax increase, and it ended up being, again, a very calm and actually pretty professional meeting, which we're not used to seeing over there. And the only thing really worth mentioning is that Trustee Damaris Gonzalez made some allegations that she has been phased out of the processes at the board. She hasn't been receiving emails and communications from the president, from the administrator, but you know, they basically just told her to get in touch with the IT department. So we'll see what unfolds there. Obviously, we're in crunch time. We're gonna take our first break.
Rama Jewelers, located in the Lyndhurst Shopping Center at 413 Valley Brook Avenue, Lyndhurst. Come for all your jeweler needs at Rama Jewelers, where you will find a fine selection of necklaces, earrings, rings, and bracelets. Choose from one of our complete sets, our many signature items, or find the perfect engagement ring. Come on down. That's Rama Jewelers at 413 Valley Brook Ave, Lyndhurst. Call 201-939-5784 or visit us online today.
So, in Union City, like I said earlier, I mean, I know it's hard to believe, but there's allegations of double dipping in Hudson County, ladies and gentlemen. So, the Union City Board of Education and the Hudson County Superintendent of Elections likely paid a woman employed by both agencies for working the same hours on multiple days based on a private investigation that includes surveillance footage and payroll records. Vivian Joaquin is a security guard for the Thomas A. Edison Elementary School in Union City, as well as an investigator for the County Superintendent of Elections. Now, these 2 positions earned her an annual salary of $45,165 and $31,306 respectively, which is a total of $76,471, and both require a 35 to 40-hour work week, according to East Coast Private Investigations President Joe Blaitler. Blaitler and his office spent over 2 years looking into how Joaquin, who is the sister of State Senator and Union City Mayor Brian Stack's significant other, Mercedes Joaquin, could fulfill the responsibilities that both jobs necessitate. Blaitler, a longtime nemesis of Stack and a former deputy chief of police in Union City, told us that this is a clear example of political patronage since payroll records, timesheets, and sign-in sheets show that Vivian Joaquin has gotten paid for being at both jobs at the same time on various occasions. And check out a clip from this story where Blaitler could explain it better than I can.
So the Board of Elections is claiming she works nights sometimes. She's working nights, being paid overtime at the Union City Board of Election. So to me, all these hours aren't adding up. What we were finally able to get them to give us is what days she worked, but they wouldn't tell us what time. So based on the days she worked, we created calendars. And as we created the calendars, what we noticed is, for example, what was weird was on Fridays, for some reason, Vivian's required to punch in at the Board of Elections. So, for example, on January 12th of 2018, you can see here, it's highlighted in yellow, she is punched in at the Board of Election at 8:45 to 2:30, and she's also, according to the Union City Board of Education, she was working for them. But her hours at the Union City Board of Education, according to the document they gave us, is from 8:30 to 2:30. So how could she be at two places at once? It's doesn't make any sense. On June 8th, she, according to the Board of Election, she was working for them, but they didn't say what time. And according to the Union City Board of Education, she was working for them, but they don't say what time. But myself, along with Walt Kane from News 12, we have her at Edgewater at TJ Maxx shopping at 11:09. So she's in Edgewater at 11:09 on Friday, June 8th, and yet she's not punched in, she's listed as working for both the Union City Board of Education and the Union City Board of Election on that day.
So, I mean, it looks to me like Blaitler's done his homework. Obviously, we didn't get much of a response on the other end. The Union City Board of Ed had a spokesman tell me that since school is out this week, they couldn't comment on the matter. They can't review any payroll or work records while school's not in session. And the Superintendent of Elections office did not get back to me, did several emails and calls, no response. So, you know, this obviously has some compelling evidence. We'll see what comes of it. I know the State Attorney General's office was also notified by Blaitler's office. Typical with their policy, they do not confirm or deny the existence of an ongoing investigation, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Furthermore, we are going to meet now with State Senator Sacco. Just going to take a break with our sponsors in a few seconds, and we'll be right back with you.
Introducing the MyJCMC app, powered by Practice Unite. The free MyJCMC app puts the power of healthcare at your fingertips. Go to the concierge for access to referrals, scheduling, and appointments, see emergency room wait times, and get directions to Jersey City Medical Center health locations. Read the latest JCMC news through their social media feed, find a doctor, and more. The MyJCMC app. We belong to you.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers the quality of life you deserve in 10 high-rise rental towers with amenities such as the on-site Newport Path subway, light rail and ferry service, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Sears, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams Supermarket is just outside your front door. A health and fitness club, spa, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. NewportNJ.com. Enjoy the New York skyline from Newport Town Square. Manhattan is just one path stop away or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Want to visit Newport? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. Go to NewportNJ.com for details. Newport has luxurious towers, great restaurants, shopping, New York skyline views, schools, playgrounds, a marina and yacht club, gym, spa, fine wine, fine living. It's incredible. It's you. NewportNJ.com. Newport. Live like you want.
Here we have the pleasure of being joined with State Senator and North Bergen Mayor Nick Sacco. So first of all, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
And it's an appropriate day, I think. I think it ended up being really good timing because just about 3 hours or so ago, we had a press conference at one of the great restaurants in Bergen line, and I know you and 2 of your running mates were talking about driver's licenses for undocumented immigrants, and this is an issue that has been going through the legislature for 6 months or so, at least. And I know this is something that you felt strongly about, so tell us why you wanted to bring this to the forefront today.
It's actually been going on for years. And when I was the chairman of the committee, it became an issue. Nilsa Cruz Perez had a bill. There was also one in the assembly. But what happened is that the governor at the time, Chris Christie, said he wouldn't sign the bill. The history of bills under Chris Christie were if he didn't sign them, there was no way to override him. We never overrode a bill, even simple bills like women's health for $10 million, we couldn't get overrides on. So going ahead with the bill was of no value. You just You know, you going through hearings, pass a bill, and then all of a sudden find you didn't have a bill anyway. When this year Governor Murphy said in his State of the State that he would support the legislation, it became alive again. And now there's a bill. It's Senator Vitale and a number of senators, and I'm now a co-sponsor to it. And it's an interesting bill. What we have are people who are here undocumented. They are supporting their families. They are attempting to get jobs. They can't drive. You know, sometimes they lose jobs because of it. Sometimes they just can't get a job because it's outside of the area. So they suffer, their children suffer. Meanwhile, some attempted to drive without their licenses, which becomes a real issue because if they get caught, there's an ICE issue for people who are driving without licenses. If they have an accident, it's 10 times worse because they're not insured. And it really risks everybody else. So you have drivers on the road who haven't passed a driver's test, may not know the rules of the road, and if you have an accident with them, there's no insurance. This would correct that. This would have a specific license, one that they can't use for documentation for anything else. They can't use it at an airport. You know, it's clear. They also can't be picked on by law enforcement because they have this type of license. The license will be valid in New Jersey. They will have to be, you know, pass their driver's test, get insurance, and I think we're all safer because of it. And it also helps people who are
Jersey
hardworking
City Medical
and
Center.
wanting to go to work and waiting to become legal in this country. So I support the bill. It came to light. I was meeting with a group of ministers Saturday night, and in passing, you know, the very last thing I thought about, oh, by the way, this bill that's been out there, I'm with it. Senator Nellie Poe followed me as a speaker, and she said, you know, thank God, because I didn't know you were with us on a bill because we need every vote we can get. And that was the genesis of how we ended up with a press conference with myself and with Pedro Mejia and Angelica Jimenez. You know, we were able to have a press conference and be able to explain our positions on the bill.
So obviously there are some Republican colleagues of yours in Trenton that don't believe that the undocumented immigrants deserve this or any other sort of privilege. So I mean, what would be your counter?
It's more
there?
than that. It's more than that. You come from a conservative district, right? And you're a Democrat. This becomes a very risky bill. My belief is that, you know, if because of the Assembly is up this year, it might be too risky for some members of the Assembly to tackle. I believe after the elections are over in the lame duck, you'll be able to move the bill forward and get both houses to pass it and to have it signed by the governor. But not until we get to the lame duck section of the year, which would be November. And then people would be freed up. They won't have the pressure of an election, and this become a big election issue. In some areas of the state, it could be very unpopular. And even though Democrats represent those areas, it's a conservative area. They don't have Latinos living in the area the way we do here. We have in North Bergen over 60% of the population. You know, it's over 40,000 Latinos live here. Not all, you know, a small percentage are undocumented. But, you know, these are the people that we have to reach out to help and have them gainfully employed. At the restaurant today, the owner came from Cuba through Costa Rica and was undocumented and couldn't get a driver's license and couldn't get a job. Now he owns a restaurant. You know, and so
Certainly a
you
compelling
know,
story.
yeah,
Yes.
it's compelling. There are people there who deserve this opportunity, and I'm willing to support the bill. And I'm now a co-sponsor of the bill.
All right, very good, Senator. Now, on the local level, you've obviously well aware that we're in re-election season.
I heard about that.
It's prime time, and you know, just a couple minutes. So, in short, you know, the challenger has made some bold accusations. You know, he's talking about how the power plant is going to be a health detriment for decades to come. He's talking about a culture of corruption, and it's time for a change. Just what do you think in comparison to when you guys had this fist fight 4 years ago?
Similar. The only new issue would be the power plant, and it's really an unfortunate issue because First of all, what they're saying about the plant isn't true. They're projecting that the plant will produce more carcinogens than all the plants together in the country if you take their number. And it doesn't. It's really a clean fuel. It could affect greenhouse gases, you know, it is. But, you know, is the country ready to go to renewable energy right now? I mean, are we ready to go back and not have electricity? Is at this point, you know, just not ready yet. Maybe in time we will be ready, and at that time I think we all will support the movement. But right now there are other issues involved. However, the thing most interesting is that he's hitting us with an issue that we don't control. We have no licensing power. We have no, there's no boards that would have to, the Board of Adjustment wouldn't hear this, the Board of Zoning Board wouldn't hear this. We have actually no power over this plant. If the federal government, the EPA and the DEP say they want that plant and approve it, we don't have any way that we could say, well, North Bergen doesn't want it. What we would do under those conditions would go and say we want rightful compensation to our residents for it. And that's the only part that we play in here, that we would want to be compensated, and we're asking for over $5 million a year, not a little bit of money. However, it's not even the money, it's the fact that we don't have the control over it. It's the state and federal agencies that are going to say yes and no. The area is zoned for the plant. We have no zoning ability with this plant.
Understood. Mayor, hate to cut you short. I always enjoy chatting with you, but we're running low on time, so thank you.
Thank you
Glad
very
you
much.
were able to make it.
Yes,
and ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this segment, but we're not done. Sit tight, and we'll be back momentarily.
Jersey City Medical Center, Hudson County's #1 hospital, as ranked by U.S. News and World Report. Hudson County's only hospital to receive an A safety score rating. Jersey City Medical Center is Hudson County's only hospital to receive the prestigious Magnet Award for Nursing Excellence. Make the #1 hospital in Hudson County your first choice for quality health care. Jersey City Medical Center. Visit us on the web at libertyhealth.org. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
And we're back, as promised. So here we are with my colleague, Mark Bucinich. Mark, obviously you've been having some fun in the Mile-Square City in recent memory, and this past few days, this past week or so was no change. And I guess on the topic of change, climate change was the issue, the executive order signed by Ravi Bala. Yeah, that was a good one, right?
It was, it really was. John, by the way, second week in a row of doing your in-studio show. What a, again, congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Mark.
But yeah, no doubt, you know, it was an interesting press conference on Monday in Hoboken where Ravi Bala announced Hoboken's climate action plan, which he said was inspired by the Green New Deal, which is the same kind of legislation or plan being put forth by the freshman Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and part of that Green New Deal was inspired by the Justice Democrats, a group of a political party, a left-wing, I guess, part of the party that helped to elect Miss Ocasio-Cortez.
Okay, so I don't know if you were able to read the bill or you were able to get the particulars, but for those of us that weren't there and just haven't really heard much about it, can you tell us a little bit what the bill says and what Hoboken's looking to do here?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the same week that Ravi Bala announced this plan, I mean, New York City also took a big step, and it seems like at least one component of the plan seems to be very similar in where they want to make sure that all municipal buildings eventually transform to 100% renewable. And he said that later in the year that the city will make that particular plan available for residents. So residents who are maybe more environmentally conscious or more concerned about the environment, for homes that they own, they would be able to participate in this plan that would allow them to run and energize their building with 100% renewable energy.
And I also noticed in the video that the mayor was joined by a number of, I guess we could call them green officials, people that are environmentally conscious. I mean, what sorts of things were they saying?
Well, it was interesting. One of the first things they said is, well, people need to recycle more, which seems to be an obvious thing, but they actually did say that. And they also said they were very commendable of what the mayor is launching, the plan that Hoboken wants to implement. Another important aspect of the plan is that for low to moderate income wage earners, the city will make available for those residents the ability to tap into solar energy or renewable energy sources around the state without them needing to place solar panels on their roof. So that would make it economically viable and feasible for the low to moderate income residents.
And is that going to be I guess that's going to be the housing authority, right?
They mentioned that plan would, they didn't specifically say whether or not that would be through the housing authority, John.
They just said
but they
affordable
said that
housing.
they will have more news about it as the year progresses.
Okay, very
Yeah.
good. And was there any other takeaways from there that you found interesting and notable?
Well, obviously obviously the big issue that has been in the news last week, this week, one part of the plan that the mayor talked about was the need to preserve Union Dry Dock as open space. And of course, we had an opportunity to ask him during the press conference, did he have a chance to look at the renderings while Hoboken is trying to preserve Union Dry Dock for a public park. It turns out that New York Waterway released these renderings of the ferry mains terminal that they would like to have built at the Union Dry Dock site. And Mayor Bala was adamant and said that Hoboken is ready to or willing to acquire that land to make sure that property remains open space.
All right, very good. And for those of you that don't know, I mean, I'm not even sure if you know, but New York Waterway actually sent us these updated photos that are scrolling across the street today. Obviously, we got those via a source who wanted to remain anonymous, and we obviously gave them that privilege. But now we see what the real layout looks like. It's very interesting in the direction they're moving. Obviously, the city's pushing back, and this one might need to be settled in Trenton. But one more commercial break, folks. Just give us a few moments again.
The Jersey City Medical Center. You know it for its award-winning, life-saving ambulance service. It's also your health hub, with health and wellness locations staffed with certified professionals all through Hudson County. The Jersey City Medical Center, here to help you with your healthy, here when you need us the most. The Jersey City Medical Center. Visit us on the net to learn more. Jersey City Medical Center, Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas Health Facility. Let's be healthy together. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net.
Rama Jewelers, located in the Lyndhurst Shopping Center at 413 Valley Brook Avenue, Lyndhurst. Come for all your jeweler needs at Rama Jewelers, where you will find a fine selection of necklaces, earrings, rings, and bracelets. Choose from one of our complete sets, our many signature items, or find the perfect engagement ring. Come on down. That's Rama Jewelers at 413 Valley Brook Ave, Lyndhurst. Call 201-939-5784 or visit us online today.
And hello again. So here I am with Mark Vucinic, John Heides, and we're talking about Hoboken still. Specifically, we wanted to chat more about Union Dry Dock. The reason being, New York Waterway has been trying to acquire this property at 901 Sinatra Drive for quite some time, and me and my colleague have been working on that. So Mark, we had to stop short for a moment there, but again, just to reiterate for anyone who missed it, We have some artist renderings. You know, we reported the story first, and since then, New York Waterway has released these renderings to us of what that facility would look like, that ferry maintenance and refueling station. And, you know, I know you did the more recent legwork, so tell us a little more about this topic and what you learned earlier this week.
As I mentioned a little bit earlier, John, you know, the mayor, Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bala, said that he had not seen the renderings, but obviously that was on Monday. Now it's been published online, and he is adamant and insisting that that Hoboken will retain that property. And you know, according to a couple published reports, looks like New York Waterway is expressing some frustration because they said they've been trying to have some kind of dialogue with Hoboken officials, but they said apparently that they're getting radio silence.
Yeah, so I read that article as well. I mean, it appears that New York Waterway officials sat down with the editorial board of the Jersey Journal, and they, yeah, like you said, seemed quite perturbed, to put it nicely, maybe even angry. You know, obviously we weren't in the room, but the point is, they said they've just been unable to communicate. There was a meeting between the governor's office, the mayor's office, and New York Waterway on March 15th. Other than that, they're making these allegations that, you know, both the former mayor, Dawn Zimmer, and the current mayor, Ravi Bala, just don't want to have this conversation. So whether or not that's true, you know, I guess it remains to be seen, but clearly this is a contentious issue, not that that's uncommon in Hoboken, as you know.
Of course.
But usually it's between the electeds. In this instance, it's between you know, a private party, so it's going to be interesting how that unfolds. And just as luck would have it, Mark, I know you've been dealing with a lot of environmental issues in the past 2, maybe 3 weeks. So could you tell us how this relates to what you've been hearing from some other folks like the NJ Sierra Club?
Yeah, well, it was just a week and a half ago where the Jersey City Council chambers, there was a Hudson County Climate Town Hall. Ravi Bala and Jersey City Mayor Stephen Fulop were in attendance, and an environmental leader, well-known environmental leader, Jeff Tittle, who is the executive director of the Sierra Club chapter of New Jersey, who during his talk had mentioned that Governor Phil Murphy has said publicly that the verdict is in, that climate change is real, but that what worries him and other environmental leaders and activists in the state is that currently there are 13 projects before the Department of Environmental Protection that are fossil fuel based projects. And one of those projects is what you were just speaking with the North Bergen Mayor Nick Sacco, one of them being the North Bergen Liberty Generating Power Plant.
Yeah, so obviously Jeff Tittle and basically any other person that's a part of any green group, for lack of a better term, is against this. I mean, again, just hearing from what the mayor has said and other North Bergen officials and other county officials, state officials, I mean, where do you see this project going if you had to, you know, put your finger in the wind right now, so to speak?
Oh, well, that's interesting. I mean, according to Jeff Tittle, I mean, he said there are 49 representatives, at least in Bergen County, that is, that are opposed to the project. So you have all that opposition to coming from Bergen County, and the project will be sitting right on the edges there of, I guess, Fairview, North Bergen.
Yeah, that's right.
But at the same time, there's really, according to, again, Mr. Tittle said that there's really no opposition that has been publicly made by any Hudson County officials. And also North Bergen Power Generating Liberty officials question when we asked for a response to what Jeff Tittle had said about that plant possibly producing the most greenhouse gases in New Jersey, they wrote back to us just asking us in turn to ask where Jeff Tittle was getting those numbers.
All right, very good, Mark. The new Captain Planet right here.
Thank you, John. Great to join you again, by the way.
Yes, absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure and a privilege to have you. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week. We're going to be here every Thursday, 2 o'clock. So set your calendars, make your Google reminders, do whatever you got to do to make sure that you're here to join us. Thanks so much. Have a great week.